All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Believe in Bills, presented by FanDuel. I am Adam Benigni of WGRZ TV and Sports Talk Live Buffalo. Sal Maiorana of the Rochester Democrat and Chronicle, working the Bills beat. We've actually been on the Sabre beat here on this show for quite a while, and with good reason, but it's good to get back to the Bills, even if it is. And look, the schedule release, Sal, is always an exciting time, and people, plan so much of their lives around it during the football season. I get all that. It's just the way in which it comes out. And maybe this is, inside broadcasting or inside journalism or whatever. It's kind of a pain in the ass with all of the rumors and everything.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've always said this is one of the dumbest days on the NFL calendars. Why people just can't wait till 8:00 when they release the schedule, why it has to come out in drip. I mean, this starts early in the week. We get some of the networks announcing, they're going to do their big promotion. So they announce some of the games, and then you get these, these leaks and rumors and these people who just make it their life's, calling to make sure they have the whole schedule in place before the actual release. Now, I mean, it ends up being okay for someone like me who has to write about and analyze the schedule to actually get it earlier in the day. I mean, it was done, this schedule, I think that site NFL Nerd, I don't know who runs that site. It actually says Buffalo. The guy, the avatar on the Twitter page, I think he's a Buffalo guy, but whoever it is, he's got somebody or some people in place that get all of the games ahead of time. And he does this elaborate, gorgeous, spreadsheet online. So it's great that we get to have it ahead of time, but it's just, why can't we just sit back, relax, enjoy our day, and when the schedule comes out, whoopee, then have a party and let's go over it. But no, that's not the world we live in, Adam. So we got the schedule throughout the day on Wednesday, and I look at this thing, Adam, and I wrote in my story, the Bills didn't get an international game for the third year in a row, which is kind of surprising given how good they've been and they have Josh Allen. But man, the league still values the Buffalo Bills. They got them on the primetime schedule, the maximum you can have at the start, which is 6. That doesn't count the Christmas Day game in Denver. So it's really the league respects the Bills. They know they're a big draw, and they got a lot of respect in this schedule this year from the NFL. And it's a tough one, man. It really is a tough schedule.
So last year at this time, we had talked about how it was a favorable schedule, not only in terms of the opponents, but also in how it laid out, right? This one,
the travel too. It was minimal travel.
Right. This one challenging in terms of the opponents, and then challenging in terms of the layout as well. When you talk about like the 6 primetime games, you've got multiple short weeks. You've got, I think, 4 sets of back-to-back road games as I look at this thing. This is a lot more challenging at the outset than it appeared to be last year. Yeah. So with Joe Brady, first-time head coach, they've got their work cut out. I mean, it's rated – I know there's different metrics for this sort of thing, but the general one that I've seen, 8th most difficult in terms of opponents' winning percentage from the prior season. It may be more difficult than that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it is. I use the Sharp football analysis site. They're really good with the metrics, and it's to me it's foolish, and they subscribe to this theory too. It's foolish to base strength of schedule on the teams' records last year. These teams change so much in these off seasons between free agency, the draft, whatever's going to happen in training camp, and they base theirs on the odds makers' win projection totals for each team. And you could debate that too. I mean, FanDuel does it, our presenting sponsor. You could debate the merits of that as well. But at least when they're making those win projection totals, they've got the most recent information on these teams. I mean, the latest ones come out, and we all know what teams have done in the draft. We know where they sit with free agency. So you can get a better feel for what a team might actually be like in 2026 compared to what they were in 25. So based on that metric, Adam, and this confuses me, they have the Bills as the 14th easiest schedule in the league. Based on the totals of the win projections of the opponents that they're going to play this year. Last year, by comparison, they had the 5th easiest schedule. Now that made sense when you thought about last year. This year, it's hard for me to believe this is the 14th easiest schedule because it looks damn hard to me for all the things you just said. Tough opponents, some tough road games, some tough travel. I'm surprised it comes out that way, but that's what it is. So we can go through this. We can break it down. There's a lot of interesting inflection points in this schedule. Right.
Well, people, by the time they turn to us, they've seen it, right? They know it. But so let's get into some of the nuances of this thing. And off of the top, they open at Houston. We'd expected they would open on the road. They had requested a primetime opener for the new stadium. Obviously, that's such a significant date historically here in Buffalo and was so much anticipated by the fan base what it would be. There's been some backlash. I mean, it winds up being the Thursday night opener on a short week, the streaming model and all of that, which the NFL is trying to push forward. I kind of felt Sunday Night Football. I know they dealt with the Ravens before this history. They didn't want necessarily to repeat itself, but with the stadium and everything else, I thought Sunday Night Football would be a great place to put that.
Yeah.
Right. It winds up being on Thursday night, and there's been a fair degree of backlash to that among the fan base, and I can see where they're coming from on that point, Sal, actually.
Yeah, I absolutely. Go to the opener as the day was going on, because as we spoke about, these things start coming out. It got down to it was either going to be at the Packers or at the Texans, and man, I was really squeezing for at the Packers to go to Green Bay in September as opposed to going there in December, which is where they're going to be. I was really hoping it was going to be at Green Bay. That would have been a great opening game, I think, but they're going to be at the Texans instead. And it's a very good game. It's an AFC, battle between two teams that we think are going to make the playoffs. So I understand what they were doing. I like the fact that it's 1:00. That's good too. But that's going to be a very, very tough opener. And then they got to turn around and play on Thursday Night Football. And like you, I hated it. I like the opponent. Detroit's a very good opponent for the first game. They didn't make the playoffs last year, but we know that's a good team. So I'm fine with that. I just hate that it's on Thursday Night Football, Amazon Prime. This should have been a day where Bills fans had the whole day to celebrate the opening of a new stadium. Get out there. You do your tailgates. It's a Sunday. Play Sunday Night Football was what I was hoping for. And instead, they put it on a Thursday night. People have to work. People have to work the next day. It's tough for the people outside of Buffalo. We have a ton of people from Rochester who go to Bills games. Now they got to go to the first game on a Thursday night. It just sucked. Everything about that sucked. I was disappointed. The Bills got their wish. They got a primetime game, but I don't like it at all. I just didn't like it, so that was disappointing.
6 primetime games, which is the max, as you said. They're playing on Thanksgiving and Christmas. I think they're one of two teams. They and the Bears are doing that, which, I don't think that should be. I think it should be one or the other.
I hate it. I hate it for me.
And I get, it's different because media has to work it. But everyone has family considerations and that sort of a thing. And I just don't think it's fair for the players and the organizations either, that if you're working one, you should have the other off. That's just my opinion. And then you have the travel involved, sequential road games, all of that. There's some interesting and nuanced into this. There's some extended breaks which work in Buffalo's favor. Yeah. How does that all balance out, in your opinion, as you look at this?
I saw somebody was talking about it this morning. I just, I don't know how they do these research projects, but apparently the Bills' rest situation in this schedule, they said, I don't know how they determined it, but it's like the second best in the league. So, you can debate that all you want. There are a couple points though in here, like you've got a short break after the opener. You're on the road, but at least you're playing the next game at home against Detroit. And then you've got, 9 days off until you play a very good Chargers team. So that's a good thing for the Bills. Their bye week, they play the Ravens after that. So it's good. That's a big, big game because those are two teams that are going to be battling, you would think, for the AFC Championship maybe. They're going to have extra rest before that one. They've got a situation. They go to Minnesota on a Monday night, and they got to go back on the road the following Sunday. but they gave them the Jets. So that's on a short week. It's nice to be playing the Jets. So that actually works out well for the Bills. And then after they play the Chiefs on Thanksgiving night, the next game, we'll still have, again, the 10-day break, is at New England, which could be a huge game for the AFC East. So there's a couple things that break pretty well for the Bills. Also, let's not forget their last 2 games of the year, Adam, if they're getting right down to it, they're playing at Miami in week 17 and they host the Jets in week 18. Those are we think are going to be 2 of the worst teams in the league. And that could be a big factor coming down the stretch. Now, I also did look this up. New England and Buffalo play the same 3 teams at the end of the year. The Patriots also play the Broncos and the Dolphins and the Jets, different order, obviously. So maybe it doesn't work out quite as we hoped, but the last 2 games against Miami and the Jets, that could be meaningful for the Bills.
And as I had mentioned, but specifically on the 4 sets of back-to-back road games, weeks 5 and 6 at the Rams and at Vegas, weeks 9 and 10 at the Vikings and Jets, as you mentioned, 13 and 14 at New England, at Green Bay.
That's
tough, right?
Yep.
And then 16 and 17 at Denver, at Miami. So there are some favorable aspects to this, as you said, but kind of looking at this organization and the changes that it's been through, look, I mean, Joe Brady is going to have his hands full in year number 1 as an NFL head coach.
Adam, that first 5 games, you look at that start for Joe Brady as the head coach of the Bills at Houston, Detroit, and then home for Detroit, Chargers, New England, and then at the Rams. That is a gauntlet, man. I mean, that is going to be a tough start to this season. I mean, don't be surprised if the Bills come out of that 2-3. I think in my analysis, which again, I hate making picks, but I'm told to do it, so I have to. I think I had them coming out 3-2 in that segment. And that's because I had them losing at the Texans and I have them losing at the Rams and winning all 3 of the home games. So we'll see, but that is a tough start. They're going to need to survive that before they, get into the rest of the schedule, which the middle portion, I think there's some opportunity to gain some ground, but even there's some tough opponents in there. I'm pretty sure I would bet my bottom dollar, Adam, that back-to-back West Coast, Rams, Vegas, I bet they stay out there.
No, they would have. Yeah, absolutely.
I think they're going to. You could debate that. I mean, some teams don't want to mess up their whole week and, move the whole operation for 2 weeks to the West Coast. And, these guys are, the other thing that makes me laugh sometimes, it's not like you and me flying to the West Coast back-to-back weekends and dealing with airports and connections. These guys fly on private jets. It's not a big deal, but I would bet, and I don't know this for sure, I would bet they stay out there for the 2 weeks and just do it that way.
Well, no, I mean, look, we all know teams that play in the East going West, the challenges that they face, right? And they're so dialed into body acclimation, all of those things, the sports science aspect of this, that it would shock me if they didn't stay out there.
Well, and the thing is, too, the one game's on a Monday night. So you'd have to turn around and go right back there for a Sunday game. If it was Sunday, maybe they wouldn't do that. But I think because the game at the Rams is on Monday and now you're flying back and you got to go right back for a Sunday game, I think that's what they would do, is just so we'll see.
Not to spend too much time on that point, but just a few years ago now, that trip to London and the loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars, the game when Milano and Daquan Jones went down and that. Remember, they were heavily criticized for flying over as late as they did, right?
Yeah, that was a dumb – I don't know what they were thinking on that one. That was
lesson learned
decision.
I would bet you they stay out there. Okay, so FanDuel, presenting sponsor for this show and others here on the Believe Network, has Buffalo win total, the over-under, 10.5. That's about where it's been. I know you're not into predictions, but what's your take on that, and maybe what did you have them? Because I know the DNC asked you on your article to pick each of these games.
Yeah, it came out to 12-5, and I went back and I'm like, geez, what am I thinking here? Well, 12-5 is going to be a really difficult schedule. It feels more like an 11-6. So I forget which. I mean, I had them, like the losses I had them with, Adam, were at Houston, at the Rams. I had them losing the Ravens game. I just feel like Baltimore's due. Baltimore's due to come in and beat Buffalo. So I had them losing that one. and I had them losing at the Patriots and at Green Bay. Those are the only 5 losses. Now, obviously, Minnesota will be tough on a Monday night going up there. The Denver game, I have them winning that. That could easily go the other way as well. And even the Detroit game. I mean, you think about Detroit, all the emotion that's going to be going on that day and maybe a little bit of distraction because of all this pomp and circumstance. I could easily see the Lions coming in and ruining the party. That could definitely happen. So I've got them 12-5, but I'm not real confident. I'm not real confident that I got that right. Last year, I looked back at my schedule last year. I actually went 13-4 in the way I picked it. I think I had them going 11-6, but I got 13 of the 17 games right. So I felt pretty good about that.
All right, so that would do it. Anything else you want to add here before we wrap it up? I think it's a pretty good look, and it outlines the degree of difficulty associated with this schedule for the Bills. Anything else you want to add, or anything that people can look for in the DNC?
No, not particularly. We covered it all yesterday when it came out, and it's a fun schedule in terms of the primetime games. Now, you know me, I hate primetime games. They all suck, but I know fans love them. So the Bills are going to have some high visibility, big standalone windows. They might get more later in the season, depending on flex. So not thrilled with the Christmas Day game at all. Thanksgiving is fine. I never really bothered or worried about covering Thanksgiving games in the past, but this Christmas deal just kind of sucks. Even if it was a home game, it would suck. But, for us who have to work the games, you're flying, you're losing Christmas Eve with your family, you're losing Christmas Day, and then it's out in Denver. So, who knows what the weather could be like, and really not happy with that one, Adam. That's my biggest piss off moment of this schedule. But what are you going to do? The Bills were due. We had talked about this. We've kind of had luck. They played on Thanksgiving in 22, right, against the Lions, and that had been 3 out of 4 years. We have gotten through, 3 years of no holiday games, so they were due to get one. It just sucks that they got 2.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, and people might hear that and say that's the media complaining or whatever, and the whole thing. Listen, it's not just us. It's players,
everybody.
It's members of the organization. It's like I said, there should be a rule.
The stadium, all the people who work at the stadium, right?
I think that there should be a rule that NFL, if you're playing a Thanksgiving game, you're not playing on Christmas. I mean, it should be that, but
it never used to be an issue, Adam, because the NFL didn't play on Christmas, right? This is all a new last few years that all of a sudden they want to own Christmas Day too. So, it's just the way it's going. The NFL wants to die. I mean, I made the joke. The Bills are playing on 5 different days of the week this year. The only days they're not playing are Tuesday and Wednesday. It's crazy because that Christmas game is on a Friday. So, I mean, eventually you're going to have a game every day of the week in the NFL because they just can't get enough of themselves, with the arrogance that they have. But fans love it. The fans fuel it with their passion for the game and the sport. And this is just, we have to deal with it. Well, not too much longer. I'll be out of this racket soon enough. So they'll be left to young guys like you to carry the torch.
Yeah, hardly. Not so young, man. I'm
in semi-retirement.
I'm far closer to you than some of the young, as you call them, whippersnappers in this business. Coming up, and as Jerry Jones said at an owners meeting that I flew down to Atlanta to cover, just prior. Well, this was after Ralph Wilson had passed away, and the team was about to go up for sale, and it was Tim Graham and I in the lobby of I think the Ritz-Carlton in Buckhead down there where the owners meetings were. And Jones comes walking in. Of course, he never shies away from a microphone. And he talked about, that was the Bon Jovi. He's like a son to me. He was going to be a part of that group that was when his music, Bon Jovi music, was banned in bars in Buffalo in response to this soundbite. Anyway, Jones said he talked about growing the pie. It's about growing the pie, and that was the potential of having a team in Toronto at the time. Obviously, it's Christmas Day, it's or whatever. I mean, the NFL is not shrinking; it's only expanding. Wow. That's his mindset.
Dominating the world.
Mindset of the league. All right, Sal, we appreciate it. Thanks very much. Believe in Bills, presented by FanDuel, continues here on the Believe network of podcasts. Believe in Sabres has been very successful. We appreciate your support of that as well. It's done great. Whether the team is going to continue to do well very much remains to be seen. Great episode with Sean McDonough. We recorded just before this one on this Friday, who is going to call the game for ABC and then ESPN if there is a game 7, ABC Saturday night and game 6. Great insight into that series, into the challenges of broadcasting and favoritism and all of that that's had the fan base riled up. So check that out as well. In the meantime, for Sal Maiorana of the Rochester Democrat and Chronicle, I'm Adam Benigni, WGRZ TV, Sports Talk Live Buffalo. This has been Believe in Bills, presented by FanDuel.